Well, hello and welcome to another session of the Voyage of Empowerment teaser series where we're going to be featuring amazing expert speakers, activists, planners, executors, people who take empowering action in everything that they do. And I'm excited to be able to introduce you to one of those people here in just a moment. Mr. Allie Braswell is hiding behind the curtain right now. But really quickly, just a quick reminder about this empowerment process around why we came here, why we came together for empowerment's sake, is the research that I did on empowerment, uncovering these 4 empowerment steps. Step 1 starts with you, and you have to know yourself in this process of empowerment. So utilize the QR code you see on the screen to go and get the self-assessment for empowerment. And this will guide you on your empowerment journey, and it will help you to realize the authority in your life and what empowerment means to you. That will be important in your journey as you start to connect with others, and knowing others is step 2 in this empowerment process. As you're navigating the empowerment journey, you will know that you have to learn about differences. And I have to tell you, the 10 most common differences that I studied around empowerment all carry either privilege or disprivilege in relation to everything that you do, depending upon what you have access to in this world and where you are in the world. All can change. And so as you're navigating this question of privilege versus disprivilege, it's really important to take a differences assessment every chance you get, every day potentially, because those differences change, and that will help you with step 3, which is to develop your strategy. As you develop your strategy, you'll realize that the other thing you need to do is figure out which empowering actions you should do as a leader based on your differences, how we came to empowering differences. So these are the 10 empowering actions that can truly leverage change for others. Each action lives at that intersection of empowerment, measuring the power, and connecting with the authority of our own lives to create a lasting, measured impact. So the 10 empowering actions, the 10 most common differences, brought us on a journey that I like to call the Voyage of Empowerment. And it gave me a chance to introduce amazing experts and speakers, none other than the one here today, Mr. Allie Braswell, who I know is behind the curtain. There you are. Hello. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ashley. How are you? It's good to be here. Good to see everybody. This is an exciting opportunity.
Oh my goodness. I'm so thrilled that you're going to be coming on the Voyage of Empowerment. And I'm even more thrilled to have gotten the chance to support you in your campaign. So I'm excited to learn all about that. So I'm going to hide behind the curtain for a few minutes so you can tell everybody about what you do and why you're running for State House, District 45. I'm super thrilled to learn about it.
Well, you know what, Ashley, it's great to be here with you. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. My name's Allie Braswell. I am the Senior Vice President for Vystar for Culture, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, where 2 years ago, we started on a journey that a year ago, we had this incredible speaker come on and help us to deliver a powerful summit on LGBTQ plus empowerment. And that's none other than Ashley Brundage. And so being able to come and be a part of this is huge. So Ashley asked me to tell you what I do. I do a myriad of things. You know, a lot of people look at me and say, how do you do it all? I figure I have one life to live and I'm going to get the best out of it. You know, a lot of people talk about YOLO. I call it YODO. You only die once. So that's a whole lot of life out there to be able to give back. So as the diversity, equity, inclusion leader at Vystar, I have a team of 5, and we go out and we do everything from talk about the cultural challenges that may be faced in the workplace to helping to create empowerment through employee engagement. And then we work with our teams to make sure that we have equity in our hiring, equity in our goals as we move forward. And because of Do Good, Bank Better, we're always looking at ways to give back to the community and make a difference. So, I like to tell people sponsorship is with a purpose. If there is a desired outcome, then we're going to measure it, make sure we hit it, and knock it out of the park. And Ashley also alluded to that, if I don't have enough to do already, I'm also the Democratic nominee for the Florida State House District 45 seat. And I'm excited to run for that because my life has been a life of service. I've served in the Marine Corps as a cryptologic linguist and analyst, and spent 12 and a half years doing that before I ended up having to medically separate because of my knees. My wife would often kid me and tell me I was the $3 million man because I didn't get the bionics. But after rebuilt, I show people that I'm differently able as well because I am what they would call a disabled veteran. But you know what? I see people with different disabilities that turn them into new abilities and go out and achieve. And one of the reasons I'm running for the House is to let people know that people from all backgrounds need to be represented, need to be heard from, need to be a part of what we're doing. And a lot of times in the legislature right now, many people feel left out of that equation. So it is my goal to run and win this seat as a Democratic nominee for this seat, to be able to make sure that we bring common sense to Tallahassee. A lot of people have been picked up on something I started called Let's Send Allie to Tally. What we're sending when we send Allie to Tallahassee is we're sending somebody that has spent a life of service, giving back to the community. In the veterans community, I've helped to make sure that veterans have access to health care. I've helped to make sure that we have equity. When I served on Secretary Shinseki's Minority Advisory Board, and then doing that, it gave me an opportunity just to continue to give back, continue to pave pathways forward for those who have stood in the gap and provided the very freedoms we sometimes take for granted. I'm currently serving as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. So this is not that I needed a title, folks. This is that I wanted to take all that experience to Tallahassee to build bridges and bring people together. That is why I do diversity, equity, and inclusion. When you think about it, our common core is that we're human. We all have two lungs, one heart. We have two ears that we seldom use, and a tongue that we use way too much. And that's one of the reasons I'll be enjoying going out with Ashley on this empowerment voyage, to let people learn about the 3 L's of diversity, equity, inclusion, learning how to listen, learn from those conversations, and then how to lean into the solutions and help move us ahead. It's an exciting time. I don't want to keep Ashley away too long, but it's hard talking about yourself when you got so much going on. But you know what? Here's my gift that God gave to me: the ability to reach people, see people where they are, appreciate them, celebrate their successes, and empower them to go out and achieve more. So as we do that, I want to bring Ashley back, ask her to join me and tell you how you get to be a part of this.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we are having a voyage of empowerment with some amazing people. I'm just so thrilled that all of these people have decided to join and share their expertise around leadership and empowerment. You mentioned the 3 L's. I've watched you present the 3 L's, so I'm pretty excited about that session, a part of the Voyage of Empowerment. It's just one of the amazing, more than a dozen sessions that you're going to get in our 2 full conference days. But then there's going to be 3 other days where you can actually have a vacation as well. And there'll be some optional things that you can do along this journey. I have a laundry list of items that come with a full inclusive conference. So the normal price to attend in person is $2,000. I'm going to give you a coupon code today for $200 off. There literally is only one cabin left. If somebody was thinking about booking to come on the Voyage of Empowerment. So what you would get for that is, of course, all the normal cruise stuff, but then you also get the deluxe premium beverage package. You get the Surf and Stream internet package. You get all of the sessions for the conference. You get copies of my book and my workbook for empowerment. You get enrollment into my empowerment and leadership online learning platform. All of those are included a part of your path for empowerment. There's going to be some daily mindfulness meditation sessions that we're going to do. There's going to be some evening activities. There's going to be some optional activities. You'll have a blast for empowerment, and you're going to meet some amazing people. So I told you I would give you that the coupon code. So it's VOE200, which is right here. That will guide you to the path to getting a reservation if you want to do that. And then also you can attend virtually if the 5 nights at sea, or you don't want to be on a cruise ship, or whatever the case may be. You can also attend the conference virtually. We'll send you a special Zoom link so you can join on Sunday and on Tuesday are our 2 days that we'll be producing the conference. So you would only have to miss 1 day of work. And then you'll have the opportunity to also access the recorded copies of the session. So each session will be recorded. You can watch it on your own time if you wanted to do that as well. And you're going to get the kit mailed to you, the empowerment kit, which will include all those things I mentioned before, along with the keepsake that we're going to give away to all the conference attendees. It's going to be an amazing experience. So if you want to attend virtually, you can do that. And we would love to have you either way, virtual or in person. That is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And then this is that coupon code, VOE200. You can use that for $200 off the in-person booking, or $200 off the virtual pass. All right, so that was a lot of information.
Sounds like exciting times, though. Come out and join us.
Yes, exactly. But no, I'm really excited. We have already had some questions in the chat for you. So if you're watching and you have questions about the 3 L's, you'll have to come to the Voyage of Empowerment to hear that rest of that topic. But if you have questions for Allie about his campaign, why he's running, now's the time to ask that question, because we really want to give you an opportunity to support someone who is passionate about diversity, equity, inclusion, and leadership, and is going to bring common sense voice to Tallahassee, which is so sorely needed. But someone on LinkedIn already asked, where are you running? I know 45 is the district, but can you tell us where that is?
So let's talk about it. It is probably the most contested seat in this year's election. I'm actually running in the Windermere, Winter Garden, Oakland, Central Florida area that encompasses Reedy Creek Improvement District, all of Walt Disney World, parts of Celebration in Osceola County, and then also Bay Hill, Lake Buena Vista. So in all of the newest development in Florida, which is all of Southwest Orange County, Hamlin, Horizons West. So this is one of the most sought after seats right now. It's traditionally for the last couple of years, 4 years actually, been held by Representative Geraldine Thompson, who's now moving on to the Senate. I'm running to make sure that we send a legislator that cares about people, that is thinking about how do we bring people together instead of being way out right or extreme right or extreme left. I'm running to figure out how do we bring people together, sit down at the table and come together for common sense solutions. So I'm in the Central Florida area, and that's the district, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you. So I think what we'll do is we can ask if anybody else has a campaign question. I definitely want to still talk about that too. But let's talk a little bit about empowerment. And I know that we obviously partnered on an empowerment summit together, which was a landmark event. And in fact, it's one of the things that gave me the confidence to do my own empowerment events. So you kind of indirectly gave me that confidence to my own authority to navigate towards having an empowerment conference. That's kind of one of those that I just want you to know that had a really big.
Well, I appreciate that. That's what it's all about, is inspiring people to take the leap and run out there. And I think empowerment, when you think about it, I love your 10, the path to empowerment through the 10 principles you share. And things that stand out for me is access. By doing this, we give people access to the knowledge and to the information and to be able to share. And when we can do that, that's how we overcome the ignorance that leads to cognitive dissonance, or it leads to biases. When we can provide people with access, they can begin to understand. And then, by investing time, that's another one. When you invest into this, you really get a lot out of it. And that's what, when we decided to do the summits here at Vystar, it was a way to reach the community and lead the way. When I got brought on to Vystar, I got told, Allie, we want to change Northeast Florida. We want to change our industry. And I asked our CEO and said, are you sure? Because we're going to be intentional and deliberate. And, our first summit was on the intersectionality around women and intersectionality. When two things come together, or two characteristics of who they are come together, whether that be race, gender identity, their orientation, when it comes together, does it create additional marginality just for them being who they are? When we did that, man, it was so awesome to see the impact that women got out of saying, Vystar sees me. That's where I want to be, is with the Vystar Credit Union. And to hear that, doing this with you last October, doing LGBTQ plus History Month, it inspired you. That's just paying it forward, and that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. It literally was like, it was the next month, and then I took my leap away from being the National Vice President of DEI at PNC Bank, and went all in for empowerment. So yeah, that was pretty exciting moment for me. So yeah, I'm so thrilled that we were able to partner in that way. So I know that there's a lot going on here, and empowerment is a big part of the framework for why you're running for office too. Can you talk a little bit more about like what you think the state legislator, how actually it can be connected to empowerment for people? Because I know that it's designed model for people, but sometimes it can be disempowering. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So when I think about empowerment and running for office, I think the most engaging piece that we have is our power to vote in our democracy, and helping people to understand that your voice still counts. I think Lyndon Baines Johnson said it better than anyone when he said the power of the vote will change America, and that was in 1965. And we must not go into this lightly. A lot of people, as I've been out there on the campaign trail, have shared with me that, I'm not voting, or I might not vote. And I'm like, no, why give up the very right that many people fought for, shed blood for, and you have it. So when I think about empowerment, using your voice to be able to express your interests, whether it doesn't matter which side you pick, but it matters that you do vote. And what I, want to do as a legislator is be able to show people that, my campaign slogan, part of it is people helping people. I think by empowering people to get engaged, we help ourselves and we power ourselves forward. I hear about the issues around the affordability of housing. I hear about the issues around property insurance. I hear about the issues around the LGBTQ plus community and reproductive rights for women. The only way that we hear your voice is to empower you to vote, and you are empowered. Your vote does count. You have to realize that the gubernatorial seat was settled with less than 33,000 votes 4 years ago. And we're coming into that type of a season this year. So your voice becomes your tool and your pathway to empowerment by voting, by leveraging your vote to make sure that legislators hear you. And I want to be able to sit down and do town halls with the people in my district to understand, like I did this week. I sat down with a group of women. I'm gonna give them a shout out, the Blue Ladies of Windermere and Winter Garden. We sat down and we talked, and we had a great dialogue, and I got to hear directly from them what was important to them. What was important to them as they thought about voting, gun rights, being able to maintain their reproductive right as women to make the decisions about their bodies. I got to be able to listen to them and talk about, Allie, I just thought that's the way it was done, is that you sign away and tell people they can go file a lawsuit for you in order to get a roof. See, we got to be able to educate our constituency, and that's how they become empowered. Then we got to move them to actually going out and exercising their voice by going to the polls, vote by mail, voting early where that's available, and being able to have your voice heard. Long explanation. As you can see, I'm passionate about it, but that's why I'm running, because I want to give that power back to the people.
Yeah. So you talk about empowerment through your vote. I'm going to add a couple things here, because you can definitely also provide empowerment through your wallet, because it does take money to run a campaign, to pay for staff, to do mailers, to communicate, to travel, to meet the women's group of Winter Garden. It costs money to move around the state of Florida. I was literally in Orlando this weekend, and I came across Val Demi's bus right on I-4, and so it costs money to move from point A to point B. So obviously, you can also make a monetary investment. So I just want to remind people who are watching, if you're thinking about doing that, you should definitely visit braswellforflorida.com, because that's a great place where you can do that and you can provide that support that way. Obviously, yes, vote. But you should vote economically with your wallet as well, because that is going to have an impact on you. And another thing that you mentioned to me here that I think is property insurance. I mean, to me, I think that's like, it's a crisis, and literally nothing is being done about that right now. That's one of those things that I think has just been coming up as a conversation in my own house just today. So it's just kind of ironic in that nature. So let's talk a little bit about leadership now. I know we talked about empowerment, so let's talk a little bit about leadership, and without not giving away any more of the 3 L's, because we want them to attend to get that. But what is your favorite leadership characteristic?
Know yourself and seek self-improvement. I think in order to be a leader, you got to constantly evolve. When we become stagnant, that's when we get into this attitude of that we know what's best. And I think if you look at some of the movement in the country, is there's a people who think they know what's best for everyone else. I think leaders have to evolve and be able to move. For example, even in corporate America, a leader that is not constantly learning is a leader that is stagnant. And then we end up running into different generations in the workforce, and you're challenged because you're not constantly learning. I used to have a master sergeant in the United States Marine Corps who kind of put it this way. He's like, Braswell, the day they called you a subject matter expert, you're dated. I was like, oh, wow, what does that mean? I would have asked him, and he says, constantly evolve your art. If intelligence gathering is your art, you kind of constantly invest in it, constantly look at it, and see how you grow yourself. I can't think of a better organization to teach leadership than the Marine Corps. And when they did that, I constantly read and try to improve and gather information to always stay fresh and at the forefront of what I'm doing. Your people will follow you if you are in alignment with what is logical, that is practical, and that you have information to back it up. When you're going out there and doing leadership like this, you got to be conversant in the issues. You got to be able to listen. And, I won't give away too much, but when you do that listening, you got to be able to listen with an attitude. So can I give them just a little sprinkle? Just a little sprinkle? You got to listen through the 3 A's, through the lens of the 3 A's. You got to have the right attitude. You got to be able to have an open mind that somebody might know a little bit more than you that can help move you ahead. You got to have the right attention. You got to be able to turn off the cell phone and start looking at them and listening and be a part of the conversation, be present. I love it on Zoom when people are Zooming with me, they kind of turn off their cameras. And I was like, I'll stop a meeting and say, hey, can you be present with me? Can you be here with me? Because a lot of times we turn off that camera and we're doing 10 other things, just trying to keep up with it. And then the last thing is, if you got the right attitude and you give them the right attention, then be willing to adjust your learning, adjust your conversation so that you can all hear from each other and move ahead. Won't give you any more than that. Well, I'll tell you how to apply it if you come out onto a cruise, but those are great. Listening is a great tool in being a good leader.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like when you listen, you almost come together in some ways, right? It's like literally let's break down the polarities and let's come together. Wait, I have a quick clip for that.
The journey will be hard to travel up this hilltop, but together we can do it on the voyage of empowerment.
So of course, on this voyage of empowerment, we're making a journey on a ship, but we're going to not be alone because we're going to be together. And we're going to be connected by empowerment and differences. So I guess my last question, because I know we're getting near the end, but the 10 most common differences. And recently we had a chance to connect at the Veterans Summit at Disney, which I saw you speak. You were amazing. And that was fantastic. But it was really great to be there. And so one of the things that I always love to do is to put myself in other positions to learn about intersectionality and to, learn about people who are different, right? And I have such a high admiration for veterans. I do some stuff for Novova and the National Veteran-Owned Business Association. And I'm actually meeting with the UK version of that organization when I'm in Europe next week. So I'm pretty excited about that. But what is your favorite thing to connect on the differences with people who maybe you have no shared commonalities? Well, that we know of yet.
Well, thanks so much for bringing up Wounded Warriors, which was the 2022 games, and it had been in sunset for a year or two because of the onset of the pandemic. But it celebrated people with differences coming together for a common cause. Their commonality happened to be their disability, which was seen as some type of inability to be whole, or they weren't going to be able to compete as others. I'm here to tell you, at the Wounded Warrior Games at Disney, you saw people with incredible heart. You saw people from Ukraine. In the midst of what's going on in their country, these disabled veterans found time to be able to come and give back and throw something positive for their people to be able to look at and embrace here at Walt Disney World. You also saw veterans from other countries, from Canada, and from all of the armed forces come together. Now, they all have differences because they're all different individuals, but their commonality was coming together to compete and show people that they were differently able. I think when you look at it and you can say that, if I can have an open mind to come together and learn from another, because my common bond is that's another human being, can you imagine what the possibilities are in this world, in this journey, in this lifetime? That's what inspires me and keeps me going each and every day.
I love it. I love it. That was just really awesome being there in that environment and seeing some of the speakers and getting to participate in some of the sessions. It's pretty neat when we get an opportunity to build this connection through all of our differences, right? Because they are, in essence, our commonalities. Like, we all have them. We all have our own abilities and attributes. We all have our own race, our own ethnicity, our own gender. So I think it's so imperative that we treat them as our commonalities rather than what makes us different. Because if we could start to bring this world together, the sky's the limit.
You're right. Actually, I've written about it. You and I just want to thank you for having me on and being able to share and inviting me to be a part of this incredible cruise where lives will change because of this journey. We will impact the future. We will pave a pathway forward. And I know at the end of this, I'll be elected to go to the Florida State Legislature and make sure we represent voices and faces from all places. So excited. Please, if you can, go out, make a donation, and help us grow this movement. But at the same time, sign up and come out and get empowered. Be a part of this because, the alternative to it is just sitting back, relaxing, and doing nothing. I don't know anybody that does that too much right now in this crazy world. So thanks, Ashley, for having me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in November on Election Day, because that's the next important date. Thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.